Good morning, everybody. This is part one of the joint mobilization series. We'll be going over mobilizations of the ankle, knee, and hip today. So to start out with, we'll work the first ankle mobility exercise. All I've got here to help me out here is just a little fractional plate, something that's going to elevate my foot 1.5 to 2 inches off the ground. Assume the half kneeling position that we're familiar with now. Wedge the plate under my foot. Open up into a little bit of extension and just glide forward, working to keep my heel down, driving my knee forward, pushing my ankle through a full range of motion. This mobilization works really well in conjunction with some soft tissue work. I like to use a massage stick to get into the soleus and the gastroc a little bit. Real light pressure just wrapping around the leg and working up through the gastroc. So we get a little tissue work, improve the tissue quality, extensibility, and introduce the mobilization. We can also hit the hip with a really quick transition. We'll swap out our weight plate for a dowel rod. Going to place the dowel on the floor next to your foot, just below the little toe approximately, and then you're going to focus on wrapping the knee to the outside of the dowel and prying the knee open. Again, I'm really focusing on keeping my heel down through this movement. Working my hips, full range of motion, just trying to get a little bit more open. This will really help improve those squats. You can definitely do this without the dowel, but I think it provides a good reference point. We're not falling too far inward on the way back. It's just outside push and back to neutral. So there we go. Mobilizations of the ankle, knee, and hip. Hey, welcome back, everybody. We're finishing up part one of the joint mobility series today, focusing on the ankle, knee, and hip. Before we get started, resume with the ankle mobility, I just wanted to make a quick note on knee mobilization. You'll notice that what we've talked about so far focuses primarily on the ankle and the hip, mobilizing those two joints because they are mobile joints. The knee is built for stability, so we're not doing a whole ton of mobilization of the knee. We can take a deep squat, for example, and really take the knee through some flexion and extension. But for what we're focusing on today, not too much direct mobility for the knee. We're more taking the ankle mobilizations and the hip mobilizations and allowing those movements to incidentally open up the knee a little bit through lateral movements and rotation. Just a little bit, just enough to help us cope with some unpredictable demands that we'd face out in the real world or on the sports field. So next, we'll continue with our ankle mobility with some ankle circles. Use the ground for a little grip and you can toe down. And then you're just going to roll in and around. Changing directions. Really going into that plantar flexion. We can also work our dorsiflexion. Toes up, heel down. Roll to the inside, roll to the outer edge of the foot, pull it back up. Just nice and slow, controlled, deliberate movements. Real quick transition next, real easy for our clients. We can go back to the hip. Stabilize on your left leg. Lift the right leg up, open, and you're going to set it down. We've got our open hip posture. Bringing it back up, around, and closed hip posture, internal rotation. could even have the client step over a bench if they're getting a little lazy about getting high enough. Really want to bring that hip up high and over. Last but not least, final hip mobilization today, the Cossack lunge, one of my favorites. Might take a little time for your clients to work their way into this one, but very beneficial. They should see results after a few weeks. Things should really start to open up a little bit more. We're going to start in a nice small range of motion, shifting back and forth, trying to get a little bit more depth each time. It's going to be very similar to the first hip mobilization, as when you come down, we're focusing on prying the knee open, sitting a little deeper. All while you're keeping the chest up, good posture. Back flat. Just so you can get the side view. Hips push back, back remains flat. And just have them sit with it. Let the hips open up. Again, that's the Cossack lunge. That's going to round us off with the ankle, hip, and knee mobility.